I first met Red at his office, and we had an unexpected bond about overcoming challenges. As everybody knows, Red had a serious problem during a time in his life with alcoholism, and he almost lost his life because of it. In typical Red fashion, he recovered from that setback and turned it into a meaningful life lesson. During our conversation, with Red knowing what had happened to me, he said, "Gregg, it's not how you're knocked down, it's how you get back up." That is the story of Red's life, and candidly, probably an element in all of our lives. Getting back up, moving forward, even in tough times, is what Red taught everybody how to do. Well, as you heard, the University of Texas Business School is named after Red McCombs. The University of Texas has a slogan: "What starts here changes the world." No one has taken that standard to a higher level than Red McCombs. Red has etched an everlasting imprint in this world. Long after all of us are gone, Red's legacy will continue to shape our state, our country, and this great city. And Texas and San Antonio and all of us will be better for it. Thank you, Red. We love you.
He really loved the journey. This is a man that understood his priorities, and they started at home with Charlene and his family. That made him a very special person in my life. And as I look back and you start to drill down deeper and deeper into who he was, there was a whole lot of mush in there. He wasn't this big, tough guy. Down in his soul and his heart, he loved to laugh. He had one of the best senses of humor of anybody I've ever been around. I can still see him giggling as he would regale you with stories of deals he was planning to do, things that ended up well, things that ended up poorly, his shoulders bouncing up and down as he either scolded you or laughed with you. He enjoyed it very much. When I think back to the late 80s, my first sighting of this man, in the incarnate word gym, he and Larry Brown were foolish enough to give myself and R.C. Buford and Elvin Gentry and Ed Manning our first NBA jobs. We didn't help very much. But he walked in, we were at practice, and I heard these three words at the top of his voice: "All right, all right, all right." And I stopped and I looked. I couldn't believe this individual. He had these giant boots on, a hat that I'd never seen before in my life, not coming from Texas, a long coat and fur around his shoulders and around his neck. He walked right out onto the court and everybody just stopped. We could not believe what we were seeing. And I sort of immediately figured out, I think this guy's probably in charge. I just want to share one note that he sent that will explain why I think there's a whole lot of mush in there, along with the toughness and the competitiveness. So this is word for word. Congratulations, Pop, on a very challenging but very successful season. The best is yet to come. From a professional standpoint, you're in the best position that anyone could ever be in. And this is the part that means something. Just remember to love your family with as much of your time as you can. Have fun, Just know that I love you. See you soon. Red. That's more than a wheeler dealer. Love you, Red.
He rescued me personally. In 1992, Denver cut me. And if you don't know what cut means, well, they waived me. I was out of job. And I'll never forget, Red called me in January of 1992. And he said, Avery, I'm Red McCombs. I said, who? He said, I own the San Antonio Spurs, and we need a backup point guard. He said, I'll send you a Southwest ticket and you fly over here to San Antonio and we'll check you out and then you can join the Spurs team. But he saved my career. 1992. And my career was never the same because he gave me a shot. Had a chance to meet Pop and RC and Coach Brown, but he saved my career. And I saw how special San Antonio was, playing in the Hemisphere Arena and then the Alamo Dome, all because of this man whose fate was anchored in the Lord. And here's what I'll say in closing. During our 99 run, it was pretty cool because when the public address announcer would introduce the team, he would start off by saying, and head coach of the San Antonio Spurs, Gregg Popovich. And then what he would say out of American University, Mario Elie, out of Wake Forest University, Tim Duncan. And every time the public address announcer would introduce these players, my teammates, the crowd would go crazy. Then he would say, Sean Elliott out of Arizona. Then Avery Johnson out of Southern University. And the crowd would just go crazy. And then the big punchline was, and the man in the middle, 7'1", out of the U.S. Naval Academy, David Robinson. And the crowd would go crazy. Well, my friends, the crowd is going crazy right now in heaven because Red McCombs have been introduced to another life that's going to be with no pain, no sorrow, nothing but joy. And the crowd's going crazy because the man that anchored this city and loved so many is now in his heavenly home and he's rested in peace. God bless you, family.
He and Charlene also invested in individuals. And I was one of the lucky ones to be mentored by Red and Charlene. He took, for some reason, a personal interest in my professional development. As a young professional, young husband, young father, he advised me on all things. Sports and media. Red had very strong opinions about what should be covered and what should not be covered, and he expressed those very clearly. He always talked about family, to prioritize my wife and kids. And you know what? Most of the time, the message from Red was very simple. It was pretty much, be smarter, work harder, and be nice to people you work with, and even your competitors. So I'm very grateful for Red. Nothing would brighten your day more than getting one of those handwritten notes from Red or Charlene. Charlene was on that beautiful stationery. You guys know that perfect cursive script handwriting as if she was in a contest for handwriting. And it would be so glorious. And then Red on that 5x7 manila card with Red McCombs at the top in red, expect to win at the bottom, engraved. And then he would scribble out something in ballpoint pen, something like, Big Don, done good, Red. And I realized he didn't take too much time on those things because he had so many to write. I had lunch with him on his 90th birthday, and I asked him, I said, Red, I know you've been in politics and very influential over the years, but why didn't you make your politics more public? And he said, Don, because Democrats and Republicans both someday are going to need a new car. True story. We are all indebted to his vision, his kindness, most of all, his love.
At Mission Park and Mission Park Cares, we'd like to bring you more programming each and every week.
Yes, just subscribe here or catch us every Sunday morning on Fox 29.
And remember, at Mission Park, it's our mission to care.